Morning everyone, welcome to part 2 of the Fiat 500 restoration. So I left you guys in the last video talking about the front end. Front end is just clamped on at the moment, it's not welded into place, nothing like that, not even slightly. But I was talking about the front panel and what I was going to do with that. You can see obviously I have decided to just get a brand new panel. So shop soiled panel from Recambio actually, and it's got a tiny little dent there. I think maybe one the same the other side somewhere, but that's absolutely nothing from our side of things obviously. £41 for that, so just definitely made sense to do it rather than trying to rescue this. I do have some plans for this panel now. Not going to disclose what they are just yet, but the stripe on the floor might give a bit of an idea. And then obviously this is just the panel that was originally on the car, so I brought that in as well. But yeah, plan for today, we're going to have a go at shop blasting, I think. Sandblasting, media blasting, whatever you want to call it. So take these panels back off to start with, have a look and see exactly what the game plan is, move it into the booth, and I'll catch up with you in there. Okay, so the little Fiat's made it into the booth, and here's the plan then. So we've got our portable sandblasting unit in here. Haven't used this in a good few years. It's just not something that we frequently use, to be fair, so it's been stuck up in storage. But from the last times we used it, we didn't really have any issues with it so much. The main thing was that it just used to get clogged quite frequently. So hopefully to mitigate that, I have got different nozzles, new gun style attachment, and we are using different media as well. I'll show you that in a second. You can get a vibrating plate attachment for these as well, so that will be the next level that I go to if I need to. If it keeps getting clogged now, I'll weld on one of those industrial vibrating plates, and that'll hopefully stop it from getting clogged. And it should work quite well for what we need it to for something like this. We've got fully dry air here obviously, so you know it's not getting any moisture in there. I'll show you the media quickly as well. We used to use garnet, but I have chosen to use aluminium oxide this time. Two different sellers. So this one was described as a medium, which isn't really much help to me. But actually what I'm going to be using today is a 180-220 mix, aluminium oxide, like I said, super fine. I can't even describe how fine this stuff is, ultra fine. But that should hopefully not get clogged for one, and I think hopefully it'll get rid of the rust a bit better, if not slower, but it should be able to get into more of the pores and the areas to really clean this up nicely for me. It's going to be a slow process, I'm sure. Just have a look and see how it goes, really. I'll set the camera up. Hopefully I'm not going to tune in too much damage to my camera screen. Yeah, a lot of work to do. Let's see how well this performs. That's the first bag done, I think, 25 kilograms worth. So I think I forgot to mention, part of the reason I've papered the floor is hopefully now I can sweep this into a pile, put it back into the sandblaster and reuse it, because it is a reusable media. Obviously makes it a lot more cost efficient if I can get some of that back into there. But yeah, it's done a really good job. Very pleased with how this is coming out so far. It's still a bit pitted. Obviously we'll treat all of that before painting it, of course. But yeah, it's pulling off the paint and rust really nicely, so very pleased. It didn't clog one single time either, so I think the key is this fine stuff. It just seems to work really well with this setup. Yeah, push the car back now, sweep all this up, hopefully get some more back into that blaster, go again. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave it for today. You can see from the cleanup here, I did switch to the more gritty, the coarser abrasive, just to see what sort of difference it made. Gets rid of the material a lot faster, as you'd expect, but it doesn't seem to get into the pitting areas quite as well. So you know, it's left quite a few areas as well. It seems to be harder to get rid of the smaller, more intricate details, if that makes sense. It's a lot less dusty though, and it's a lot easier to clean up, so pros and cons. But yeah, all in all, really happy with how this one's come out actually. So obviously bare metals from all the way down in there as much as possible. This sealant here, I'm fairly sure that I did that years ago myself. So I've not gone to the extent of removing all of that, because I should have bare metaled underneath it first. I'm going to have to check through the photos and everything just to see exactly what I did do. But I'm fairly confident there's no rust underneath there, so that should be good to go. Yeah, just little tidying bits and pieces still to go. You can see along the top edge I haven't quite finished. To be honest, I am cold and it's time to go home for a bit now. Yeah, so a few bits left to do still. All in all, really happy with how it's coming out actually. Very pleased. Okay, so I've decided to epoxy and clear coat this whole front end. Next stage after this is to weld the front panel onto the two front wings, and then that gets welded onto the car as one entire piece. That then means that you can't get to the inner arch, you can't get to all of this area down here, you couldn't get to any of this because it'd be busted up right against the wing. And likewise with things like this, you wouldn't be able to get underneath the battery box, all of that, which would have meant it would have stayed in that black protective material. We know that doesn't protect anything from what it's done to the rest of the car, so that's the last thing that I wanted to do. So in this instance, I wanted to get it back to bare metal, get rid of the rust obviously, and epoxy and clear coat it for protection. So this is now fully protected as far as I'm concerned. It's not a good finish, not particularly good in any case. That's not what it's for at this stage. We've not done any bodywork to this whatsoever. It will have bodywork done to it, but after the panels are welded on, after I've done the seam sealing, all of that side of things, it's not what it's about at this stage. It is purely just to protect the panels. And again, like I said, it will have further clear coat and colour later on down the line, cavity seal in the areas that I can get to, but for now it is purely just about protecting the work that we've done and making sure it doesn't rust any further. This is better than they ever would have done from the Fiat factory. It would have never had an epoxy or anything like that. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this is already better than it would have been. So yeah, it's the right way to do this one. Really happy. The areas there and along the wheel arches and things, that's where I know there's going to be spot welding done, so I've not done those, deliberately not gone in there with any epoxy. They will have weld through primer on. It's the only thing that I can do, because obviously that needs welding in those areas. So yeah, anyway guys, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Hopefully you're enjoying the series. Next up will be welding on the front panels, or welding the front panels together. Might well go ahead and epoxy the inside of those or paint them the body colour. I'm not sure just yet, but yeah, lots of work to come. Cool, catch you on the next one.